this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Florida. And today our question comes to us from Stacy. And Stacy has this question. Stacy has very often received the advice to ask her spirit guides for help or protection. But she doesn't really know how to do this or how to work with spirit guides. Her only experience has been a meditation in which she learned that one of her guides is named Margaret. So her question is, how can she learn to work with her guides and receive help and protection from them? And there are a couple of different answers I'm going to make to this, and the first one is the simplest. The idea of spirit guides is not unlike the Christian idea of guardian angels. You don't really have to know who they are to receive their help. What you would want to do is to address your spirit guides and ask them for their aid, ask them for the protection, and allow it to come to you. That is the simplest thing to do. And you don't really have to have complicated communication with them to receive their help and their assistance. In fact, it's always there for you, though it is important to give them permission to help and to assist. Having said that, at a more complex level, it is entirely possible to develop a healthy communication with your guides, and the first step to that is talking to them on a daily basis. If for some reason you can't do daily, every other day or even weekly is acceptable, but daily is best because you want to build a pattern. And it's good to make a prayer to them, asking for communication with them, expressing your desire to have that communication. It's good to make an offering such as the lighting of a candle, and in fact lighting a candle in general is good in any kind of psychic or spiritual work. And what you want to do is first talk to them, and then sit down and allow them to talk to you. And the way that you do this is you find a nice comfortable place. Ideally you should have a tablet and a pencil or pen, or better yet, another person working with you, and you allow the messages to come to you. Now, here is a problem that some people encourage because they try to still their mind. And our minds can never only be so still. It's not that nothing's going to come into your mind, it's rather that you don't react to it. You just let it kind of go across your mind and back out, taking note of it, but not reacting to it. And whatever comes into your mind, you want to write it down, preferably afterwards, and just let it go right on through. And afterwards you can analyze it and see if it seemed to be anything important. And when you first start this, you're not likely to get anything important, you're likely to get basically garbage, because you have to establish this means of communication, and the first things that you get are not necessarily going to be good communication, and that's normal. But when you've done it for a few days or for a week or so, you should find this beginning to make sense. You should start getting messages that are clearer, and they should have relevance to you. And it's very important that you bring no judgment to these messages. You can analyze them when you're done if you like, but even then, don't bring judgment to them. Take a wait-and-see attitude, and what you will find is that over time they will become clearer, and that question of, am I really getting messages, will be answered by the messages themselves, because they will tell you things that could not come from another source. But it might take a little while for this, and you want to be patient and allow it to develop. It's a process. It's not going to happen overnight for most people, although there are exceptions. You also may find that you get the messages in visual form rather than in words, and that's all right. When I started doing this sort of work, I was getting messages in pictorial form before I got words, and I still very often do. It depends on the person how the message will come. And again, at first, don't necessarily expect these messages to make sense. You have to develop the channel. But if you keep doing it, they will start to make sense, and you will start to get the proof that you will probably want that they are genuine messages in the fact that they will tell you things that could not come from other sources. And this would be how I would recommend to go about starting that kind of communication. Again, you want to be very clear before you do this that you're speaking to your guides, you want to address a prayer to them, you may or may not want to set up a circle depending on your personal preference, and it's perfectly fine if you do. In my experience, it's also perfectly fine if you don't. Your guides are already around you, and you're just letting them know that you want to have this communication. That would be my recommendation as a starting place, and I think you'll find, again, it'll get clearer as it goes, and you'll find that you get messages that have meaning to you. If you find yourself having trouble receiving these messages, check and make sure that you're not trying to judge them as they come through, because that will stop the flow of the energy. If you find that you are doing that, try to set preconceptions aside, and you may find that things will start to make much more sense. So this would be my answer. I hope you find it helpful, and until next time, may you blessed be. Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from witchschool.com. Are you looking for the best in pagan and magical education? With more than 12,000 pages, witchschool.com is like having your own personal library with individual learning assistants to help you study. And Witchschool's Anyone, Anytime, Anywhere education system is available any place on Earth, anywhere you are and anytime you want it, as long as you have an internet connection. Witchschool's lifetime memberships are a great value. They really do last a lifetime. They've been there for years and they'll be there for years to come. So get your membership today at witchschool.com.